Good evening, chaps. How the devil are you? What's the lighting doing in here? Cheers. Anyway, I've been absolutely dying of thirst for the last 20 minutes. And the cans have been shouting, but I've been good, and it makes it taste so much better on the first one. Anyway, who we got in? Podrig's in. How are you, mate? Ian's in. Bottleneck Bob. Brad Matthews. Steve's in. The Essex Cat. Ozzy's in. Colin Falcon. How are you doing, mate? Nigel Pickett. Vincent Brennan. Thomas. I see you're in. Dan. Very talented guitar builder there, Mr. O'Sullivan. So he is. Anyway, before we go any further, chaps, can I just invite you to pick up your glass, whatever it is you've got in front of you, and let's raise a toast here. His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, rest in peace. Anyway, who else we got in? Beer on noontime, yes. Well, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere, isn't it? Indeed. So let me tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. Tomorrow, there's a bit of a solo, as is usual for Saturdays. It's basically, as you probably gathered by now. Excuse me. The Saturday video is one of my solos, and the Monday video is me looking at someone else's solos. So tomorrow it's just another one of my little noodling offerings when I'm playing over that secondary dominant chord sequence from Wednesday. Oh, excuse me. Then on Monday, what we're doing? Well, we're doing a guitarist, or we're looking at a guitarist who, to my shame, I have yet never featured on the channel. I'm just going to close this curtain a little bit to try and get the glare off me bald head. So have a think amongst yourselves. Who haven't I covered on this channel yet at any point? Well, it's going to be one of those. Evening, Bob. How are you? Thanks for dropping in. I hope you're managing to sneak a beer in, mate. And then on Tuesday, a new, sort of newish series of videos where I'm basically, these things I've been doing, it's my 5 favourite Telecaster or Les Paul tones or that sort of thing. Well, it just struck me the other day, I've never done any kind of videos where I'm talking about my 5 favourite performances by a certain guitar player. So that's what we're doing on Tuesday. Any guesses who's going to be kicking that off? Which guitarist might be top of the list in that series of videos? Then on Wednesday, by popular request, it's the first in a series of videos on music theory. And I just want to remind you that if you have any questions or queries or anything that's puzzling you about any aspect of music theory, then I need to hear from you. Let me know, and there'll probably be a video made about it. This week, as I say, by popular request, I put this out a couple of weeks ago asking for requests, and the overwhelming majority of people said the cycle of fifths. So that's what we're looking at on Wednesday. What is the cycle of fifths and what do you use it for? Yes, indeed, Brad. Gary Moore, indeed. And then on Thursday, we've got a new guitar to review. A new guitar turned up the other day. Someone very, very generously donated it to Zoe's place, and I'm going to kind of do the review on it and then pass it on to Zoe's place. Speaking of which, I don't know if you saw the post I put up on the community tab the other day, where I see you're all talking about the guitarist I haven't featured. I have done. I haven't done Angus Young on the channel. I did it as a Patreon solo 1 month. I can't remember. So Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it's Hendrix. That's who we're looking at on Monday. And as I was saying, I think I must have broken a world record last week because I think that Glary Telecaster copy must have changed hands for the highest price any Glary guitar has ever has ever gone for. I was going to give basically the brand. I was going to keeping the guitar that was donated, and I was going to give like the sort of brand new price of it to Zoe's place. And with all of the contributions that and the brand new price about 70, 80 quid, and with all the contributions from you, very, very generous chaps on the super chat over the last couple of weeks, it's meant that I can give £160 to Zoe's place in return for that Glary Telecaster copy. So that is now mine. It's probably the most expensive Glary guitar ever made, but ever sold. But you know what? It's I've got plans for it, and I shall keep you appraised of all of that. Where are we? Yes, indeed, Podrick. Very well done, everyone. It's Zoe's place. I do like to support them because they're a small fish in a big pond. You know what I mean? There's a lot of very, very high profile charities that a lot of people support, and good luck to them. But Zoe's place don't have the kind of big reach of the big charities. So I like to try and kind of do what I can for this little local, little local outfit. Anyway, excuse me. I need more beer, and I've come prepared tonight. I brought an extra can up just in case I get even thirstier. Anyway, here we go. Let me just read the chat while I'm trying to pour this and keep an eye on what kind of head I'm going to get on my pint. Evening, Craig. How are you, mate? Yeah, I've seen a couple of comments up there. Let me just scroll back up the chat there. A couple of people were asking for something by James Honeyman Scott. What a cracking idea that would be. You know, that sort of, the Pretenders, basically. I mean, he was the sound of the Pretenders, wasn't he? You know, really, when you think about it, that sort of jangly Rickenbacker tone. I think it was a Rickenbacker he played. I love Hendrix and his rhythm playing, says Daniel. Yes, well, you're not alone there, mate. I mean, what an influential player. You know, I mean, when you think about it, you can draw a direct line between Hendrix's kind of rhythm stroke lead playing and John Frusciante. I mean, that is, you know, clearly the lineage there. But, you know, John Frusciante sounds very different to Stevie Ray Vaughan, and you can clearly hear the connection there. And Stevie Ray Vaughan sounds very different from John Mayer. And again, you can hear the link there. So many different and diverse players have been influenced by Hendrix. And it's, you know, it's just about time I featured him on the channel, really. I'm very well indeed, Craig. Thank you very much. Hendrix was always having a laugh on stage too. Really cool. Yeah, I mean, I saw some documentary years ago where, I'll tell you how long ago it was, Chaz Chandler was still alive. And, you know, he was saying that Hendrix is often portrayed as this tragic figure, you know, and he says, when I remember Jimmy, I remember him with a smile on his face. He loved life and he loved to have fun, and he was always smiling and happy. Okay, Michael Glarrymore, fair enough, lads. John, after the cycle of fifths, how about the modes? How 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 about how the modes are incorporated into 3 note per strings system? Great subject and opens up the whole neck. You sound like you're already there with that one, Jason. Yeah. Um, the modes will be on the list at some point or other. I must admit, I don't really. When it comes to, because it's a big debate, isn't it? You know, do you go with the sort of caged patterns or do you go with 3 note per string patterns? I may express a preference one way or another, but it's a bit like choosing Coke and Pepsi. You know, I'll happily go with whatever is there at the time. I don't tend to think in terms of exclusively one way or exclusive the other way. It's whatever is, you know, appropriate for the part I'm playing. Andy Fairweather Low. Now there's a blast from the past. You know, Amen Corner, and you know, he has got to be one of the busiest second guitar players. You know, he played in Eric Clapton's band, didn't he, for a while? But you know, he's played like sort of rhythm guitar behind some great guitarists. I mean, wasn't he in Satriani's band at one time? What are your thoughts on coil splitters? I don't think they are that good unless it's just my Harley Bentons. It depends, really. Well, first of all, the whole topic of coil split versus coil tap. You know, until relatively recently in the grand scheme of things, when you chopped a humbucker in half so that you had one coil working, that was called coil tapping. I have DiMarzio catalogues from back in the 70s and 80s that refer to that as coil tapping. And then suddenly it's, you get shouted at if you call it coil tapping. Oh, no, it's coil splitting. But it depends on the pickup, really. I've heard humbuckers that sound really kind of weak and anemic and thin and brittle when you split or tap them, whichever way you want to call it, basically turning half of them off. And then I've heard other humbuckers that sound absolutely authentically like single coils when you split them in half. And that is, just to bring up the topic of the signature guitar again, that's the reason I went for, what is essentially a cheap set of pickups in this guitar. These are 30 quid a set. Or thereabouts on eBay. I think you can get them on Amazon. Vanson Classic 57 PAFs. And when you switch them into single coil mode, they really do sound authentically single coil. So it depends on the pickup you're starting with. I think possibly it's a case of if you have, some nuclear powered screaming death booker kind of metal pickup that you coil split or coil tap, then it tends not to sound as authentically single coil. But if you have something that's a bit more vintage sounding like those, then it does tend to do the job a little bit better. Yeah, the coil split on Gordon Smith are really good, Craig. I'll agree with you there. But then again, Gordon Smith guitars are fantastic. I thought I'd found my ultimate dream guitar when I got me Gordon Smith, and then Dan very, very, very kindly offered to build me something that was even better. I just get me Strat out if I want a single coil. Yeah, well, there's something to be said for that. I mean, the thing I like about single coil, about having the ability to go from a single coil sound to a humbucker sound on the same guitar, whether it's by switching from a single coil pickup to a humbucker or kind of doing the coil split tap thing and then reversing it, whatever, is it acts as a boost. When you're playing a typical blues solo where you start off all kind of quiet and subdued and then you end up sort of wailing like a banshee, then at some point it is nice to just flick that switch back into humbucker mode and just get that extra girth to the tone, which is something I like to do. So that's the the benefit of it from my point of view. Recording one of my own songs for YouTube. Any advice? Well, first of all, do a good job, but I'm sure you will, Brad. But if you're talking about the YouTube specific side of it, then it's a fine line, really. You want something that's attention grabbing and is going to perk people's curiosity to click on your song title. But you don't want to be accused of mis-selling or clickbait. You want something that's going to make people curious as a title, but don't make it completely irrelevant to the subject matter. It's probably the most tricky part of making any video. I often think when I do a video where it doesn't do as well as I was thinking, I'm thinking, well, could I have chosen a better title for that and maybe got a few more views. Anyway, John, any thoughts on shielding tape inside Strat cavities to reduce hum when not touching the strings? I've never used shielding tape. I've used the shielding paint, which is absolutely fantastic. And when I haven't been able to get that, you can use kitchen foil at a push. Just put it on with some spray-on adhesive, and it works. It's better than no shielding at all. But the easiest way is just get a little tub of shielding paint, and it's because the thing with tape or with the kitchen foil thing is you've got to kind of massage it into all of the little nooks and crannies of the pickup cavities and everything. But with paint, you just put it on, and and job done. I saw that on here, and it seemed amazing, but very expensive. What's that, Bob? The paint? Yeah, well, the paint, it's not cheap, but you'll buy it. It's like a jar of Marmite. If you a year's supply of Marmite is essentially one jar, isn't it? A little tub goes an incredibly long way. It's like, I'm not affiliated with this brand at all, but this stuff here, this is what I use for kind of cleaning me strings and condition the fretboard. See, I don't know if you can see the level in that there. It's but if you can't, it's about there. That's how far down this bottle I am, and I've had this bottle about 2 years. So it's a little bit goes a long way. I use the paperback baking foil. Okay, well, I guess that's going to work, isn't it? No, sorry, John, the rotating pickup guitar that Rhett Shull demoed. Oh, yeah, wasn't that odd, is one way of putting it. That is something that I still have, I would like to be able to do. Just that sort of quick change pickup guitar. I mean, Daryl Braun reviewed one a while ago, and where you just plug pickups in and out, and Phil McKnight's got a similar kind of thing. So I've got the noggin is jogging when it comes to that Glary Telecaster to see if there's anything I can do with that. Paint the outside of the guitar in conductive paint. Why would you do that? Oh, I suppose it makes it a Faraday cage, doesn't it? Anyway, chaps, excuse me. As an old mate of mine used to say, mere drink. By the way, I've been shopping at Aldi today, so it's the Saint Etienne, essentially the Harley Benton version of Stella Artois. So it could get messy this evening. It's a good job you lads see me at the beginning of the Friday night beers, not at the end of it, because it would be a very sorry sight indeed. Anyway, let's have a look, see what you're talking about. Do I need to shield my cavity, or is it just a trend? Well, there's a carry-on joke in there, isn't there? Basically, yeah, you do need to shield the cavities of a guitar, because essentially, a guitar pickup is it's basically, if you're coming from an electronics background, if you look at the kind of electrical gubbins of a guitar pickup and the electrical gubbins of an antenna, it's pretty much the same thing. It's a big old coil of wire. And, any interference from fluorescent lighting or any source of electrical noise, your guitar will pick it up. Or the pickups will pick it up. And, you do need to kind of filter that out. And essentially what shielding does is it creates something called a Faraday cage, where it's basically the entire pickup or all the electronics of the guitar are surrounded by an earth, so that the electrical noise kind of that's trying to get in meets that earth and just goes to earth via that way, rather than going to earth via your pickups, and therefore creating a loud buzzy kind of crackly noise. Would the zinc galvanizing spray in the cavity do the same job? Oh, I don't know, Bob. I'm not entirely sure about that. It sounds sensible. It sounds like it should, but I've never heard anybody using that. But maybe it'll work. I don't know. John, should I do all my guitars, even the Gordon Smith? I think you'll tend to find. I think if I remember, my Gordon Smith was shielded. Bob's got it now. He can probably remind you of that. But it's like, I remember when I first got it, just opening up the control cavity, and I think I remember it just to have a look, basically, and thinking, oh, okay, that's shielded. But I can't remember. It might have been a different guitar, but I don't remember having any noise problems with the Gordon Smith. As soon as I put my mitts on the guitar, it's shielded. Yes. It's definitely worth doing. Basically, if your guitar isn't shielded, shield it. Even with humbucker guitars, because there will still be some noise that will find its way in via just the jumper wires and stuff. Oh, thank you, Bob. I thought Bob's just confirming there that the Gordon Smith is shielded. John, have you seen the Harley Benton HB? And then, I don't know what you've typed there, mate. The Gibson 335 copy. It looks stunning. Yes, I've had a couple of them. Probably one of the best Harley Bentons I've tried. Probably the best Harley Benton I've tried, actually, or owned, I would say, was the little Cabronita Telecaster thing with the Filtertron pickups. I loved that guitar. But had to sell it to pay a vet's bill for the dog. But those I think it's the HB 35 and the HB 35 Plus, fantastic guitars. I mean, really, really good. Punch well above their weight. Oh, really, Colin? Squire Bullet Telecasters are shielded from the factory. This is it. This is something that I've commented on before. Just the sort of the weird kind of ladder of up the Fender range, because like right at the bottom of the Fender hierarchy, you've got the Squire Bullets, then Affinity, and then I guess Standard. Do they do the standard models anymore? But then you work your way up to the sort of contemporary and classic vibe stuff, and then you're into the made in Mexico Fenders, and then USA Fenders. And I've always thought that right at the bottom end of the range of the Squier stuff, the Bullets are better guitars than the Affinities. I just do. I just think that they've even got better spec. For instance, the Squier Bullet Telecaster has through body stringing, whereas the Affinity doesn't. It's just a top loader bridge. That just always seems a bit odd to me. The Harley Benton Double Cut Junior is shielded. Okay, fair enough. That is another guitar that's on me on my to-do list as well, by the way, because I remember when they brought out the single pickup one, which I reviewed not long after the first came out. Can't remember what the model number is, but the single pickup Les Paul Junior kind of P90 guitar that Harley Benton started doing. I thought, I wish they'd do a twin pickup version of this, and then they did. So I'm kind of thinking about one of those at some point. The contemporary Squier Strats are lovely, though. Yeah, I mean, you can't fault Squier guitars. Again, it's another thing with Fender guitars, I think. It's like, how you've got Squier made in Mexico, made in USA, basically, in broad brushstrokes, the three tiers. I've always thought you're better off going for the bottom end of a tier, the top end of a tier, rather than the bottom end of the one above, because you always seem to get a better guitar that way. Have you heard of a Scottish guitarist called Alan Darby, John? I can't say I have, mate. What sort of stuff does he do, Deco? I shall be reading through the chat replay again on Sunday afternoon, as is my wont. Have you played any Heartwood guitars? No, I haven't, but there might just be one. I think it's Dave Lewis who's on here every now and again. I'm not sure if he's on tonight, but he sent me an email today with a look at a Heartwood guitar, sort of a double cut twin humbucker set neck thing with a Bigsby on it that piqued my interest. We shall have to see how much money's left over at the end of the month. I might just convince the missus that I need another guitar. John, do the size of your nuts affect your performance? Okay. Whatever, mate. Fender and Gibson are great instruments, but you pay about a third over the odds for a good one. Well, yeah. The thing is, you can say that about any kind of field, though, can't you? If you are an established, imagine, for instance, if you were, the managing director or the chief executive officer or whatever of a big guitar company. Let's say they were called Gibson Reed Fender, and your company accountant walked into your office and said, I reckon we should be putting a big premium on the price of our guitars, because people will be prepared to pay just for having that badge on the headstock. Why wouldn't you do that? Of course you would. It's just the nature of free market economics. That the people are prepared to pay more for particular brands, and those brands, kind of, you could say, take advantage of. You could say cash in on it, or you could just say, well, they play the game. It's just part and parcel of how it goes. And if you want that brand, then you have to pay the premium for that brand. Yes, indeed, Cycles. Rest in peace, Prince Philip. Some guitars remind me of branded paracetamol. It's all pretty much the same thing, but some brands are 4 times as expensive. Yes, now there's a thing. There is a particular brand of paracetamol that's on sale in the UK called Anodin. And I was listening to an interview with the guy who did the advertising campaign for it. And basically, the thing is that all paracetamol works the same, whether it's, kind of an unbranded one or a branded one. And the strap line that came up with the advert was, nothing works better than Anadin, and of course nothing does, but nothing works any worse than Anadin either, but that's that was such a clever marketing campaign. So it just made me, whenever I see adverts now where it says nothing works faster than, or nothing is better than, or anything like that in an advertising campaign, I think I automatically now think, okay, so you're the same as everybody else then. Okay, Peter, so you've got one of those Heartwood guitars as well, have you, mate? Yeah, I am thinking about, because it was, I think the one that David sent me the link to was, I think it was about 200 quid, which, it's not exactly an impulse buy, is it? But it's something that you can think, well, yeah, I can probably find the money for that. Yeah, well, it's something that you don't have to save up for forever in a day to be able to buy one. Are you getting out your whammy bar for Hendrix, John? No, the Hendrix solo that we're doing does not make use of a whammy bar. Yes, it's probably one of the most soulful, expressive Hendrix solos, and the one where he does a little bit of a jazzy kind of thing on it, really, in terms of the chord sequence. Anyway, have you seen the price of branded plectrums, for God's sake? Yeah, well, the thing is, when it comes to picks, years ago I settled on what I like. I like the old Jim Dunlop Jazz 3, and that's all I use now. And fortunately, I don't seem to kind of lose many these days. Hey up, lads, late in, got a drummer with me. What wants to know about Tony Lomi? Wind Cries Mary, indeed, Johnny, that's the one. Oh, okay, so that's what you paid, is it? The Bigsby-esque trem is very good and stays in tune excellently. Well, that's nice to know, Peter. I mean, I'm not usually a kind of tremolo sort of person, and I've got that black Strat copy, that Harley Benton ST, whatever it is, behind me on the wall there, that comes out once in a blue moon whenever I need a trem. And since I got it, I put a Wilkinson replacement traditional Strat bridge on that, and that you can dive bomb it. You can do, kind of all of the sort of 80s Carla, Floyd Rose stuff on it, and it stays in tune brilliant. A lot of that is down to the Wilkinson trem, but a lot of it is down to the, I think it's a Newborn or something like, I think it's some sort of Graphtec nut that's on those guitars. I used to use the Eros jazz style picks in the 80s. Can't get them anymore. I'm not familiar with them, mate. My favourite pick that I ever had was, it was like it was a brass plectrum, just like a normal standard size plectrum made of brass, absolutely rigid, kind of no giving at all. But I used to absolutely kind of chew through strings with it. But it, the Heartwoods cost about 200 to 250 quid, Lee. Okay, I shall check that out, Peter. Dave Simpson's video. I like an excuse to watch a Dave Simpson video, because he's quite the chap, isn't he? Okay, Bob. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I did the review of that Gretsch that I had in here as part of the Guitars for Good Causes thing that I did, a while ago. There was one of the Gretches in here. Don't ask me which model it was, but it was like a big sort of semi-acoustic or semi-hollow. No, it wasn't. It was like a fully hollow acoustic electric, let's call it, guitar with a Bigsby on it. And you know, I'd heard all of the story, because that was the first guitar I'd ever played with a Bigsby, and I'd heard all the stories about, you know, oh, it'll go out of tune if you so much as breathe on it, and it just didn't. It was fine. The Floyd is our friend, says Johnny. It's not my bloody friend, mate, I'll tell you. Gosh, I have a special place in hell for Floyd Rose trems. I really, really cannot get away with them. They are not my friend. You know, it's just, there is obviously some trade secret that, you know, I was never let in on how to keep a Floyd Rose in tune. They just, they don't work for me, you know. Oh, was it the Streamliner, Bob? Well, thank you. You know more about the guitars that I've got in for review than I did. Yeah, a great guitar. The main kind of thing I found weird about that Gretsch was, it's this big thing like this. It feels like you're playing a big dreadnought or jumbo acoustic guitar. You know, where your arm has to come over like that to play it. So you know you're kind of strumming it, and you're expecting an acoustic guitar sound, but of course you're not. You're getting this big fat electric guitar sound, and it was just a bit disconcerting. It took a bit of getting used to. Floyd's just need setting up properly. It's quite easy, but I can guarantee that if you upset a Floyd, you'll regret it. Yeah, it was. The thing was, it was like, okay, I need to put some new strings on my guitar. Okay, check the diary. When have I got a free afternoon? You know, that was the thing. It was just so high maintenance. And, you know, I thought all of this faffing around just so I can, you know, dive bomb a pinched harmonic. You know, it just seemed such a big investment in time and effort for such a little gain, really. The Jazz 3, yes, you must have missed it earlier on. I was talking about the Jazz 3. There she is there. And sad though it may seem, and maybe it's just a reflection of you know, how much time I spend with a guitar in my hand. I've got a plectrum holder. Well, I say a plectrum holder. It's a strip of gaffer tape on the kind of top of the desk over there, and there's a bunch of Jazz 3s just kind of dangling off it, so I can always grab a pick. And I have a favourite one, and I can always tell when I'm not playing with my favourite one. They all look identical, but you know the favourite one just has a particular feel to it and an attack on the strings. And you know, I've been known to be halfway through recording a solo for a video, and I've just had to stop and find the favourite one again. I should put a little Tipex blob on it or something to say this is the one. I should get around to doing that. Have a word with Satch's guitar tech about setting up a Floyd Rose trem. He must have it down to a fine art. Well, this is it, you see. This is what the opinion I've come to over the years, having tried many guitars with locking trems, Carla, Floyd Rose, and one or two others, is that if you are Satriani or Richie Sambora or somebody, and your guitar goes a bit out of tune, then you can just go, there you go, to the guitar tech, and you get another one handed to you, and you can carry on, you know. And all of the maintenance is what Douglas Adams used to call an SEP, someone else's problem, you know. But when you're doing all your own kind of setup work, it's just such a faff around that I really, really kind of don't like Floyd Roses. Finger trem or bridge trem? Well, for me, it's just like, I always find that the most expressive vibrato comes when I play, at least, excuse me, more beer, comes from playing just the finger vibrato. That said, you know, I think you'll tend to find that Brian May, a fantastic guitar player, as you know, but one of my favourite guitar players, more to the point, uses pretty much exclusively the whammy bar for his vibrato. Another great player, and if you don't know him, check him out. Jan Circa just exclusively uses the trem for his vibrato. So it's just all, what you like to do. It's a lot of my favourite players that play guitars that I don't get on with. I mean, case in point, Gary, Mr. Moore, huge Les Paul fan. I've never got on with Les Pauls. Try the Dunlop floor picks. Okay. Quite grip. Oh, I see you talking to somebody else there. Sorry, I'm intruding on a conversation. Oh yeah, you got me there, Craig. Finger vibrato is Paul Kossoff. I mean, ages ago I did the solo for All Right Now on one of the videos, and it's an easy solo. It just is, as long as you've got basic techniques like bends and hammer-ons and stuff pulled off, kind of under your belt. It's an easy solo to play, but it's an impossible solo to play and make it sound like Kossoff, because it's just, you can't. His vibrato, I must have done about 30 takes of the solo that ended up on YouTube, and just couldn't get it sounding just the way I wanted it to sound. In the end, it's just I did what I did, and I put up the best version of it, but that I could do, but it still wasn't right, because of Paul's vibrato. Yeah, that Heartwood guitar you recommended, Dave. Does it not remind you a little bit of a Gordon Smith? It does to me. It reminds me of like the Gordon Smith GS range, just that sort of double cut shape with the. It's a lovely looking flame maple top. Obviously, it's only a veneer, but it's. But then again, most Gordon Smith flame maple tops are only veneers. So that's what sort of piqued me interest in it. Yeah, Jigsaw Puzzle Blues is a bit of a one to learn, isn't it? What was that the B side of? Was it Need Your Love So Bad, or was it Albatross? It was the B side of one of the big singles, wasn't it? Anyone wanting to see some nice UK-made boutique guitars? My mate has a couple being reviewed by Mike on CGS at 6:30. Okay. Well, it's. I know what he's doing. He's thinking, how can I make it better? How can I make just a little bit, just make it just a little bit nicer and what have you? And it's not massively different, but it's just that little bit better. Thanks, Dan. Thanks yourselves, chaps. I'll be back when the buffering is finished. So I'm sorry, I'm just sat here reading the chat for anybody who's watching this on replay. John's gone to put a shilling in the meter. Let me just check, see if my internet connection is actually okay. Let me check on here. So where are we? Speed test. Bear with me, chaps. And oh, come on. Right, just checking my internet speed at the moment, and yeah, I'm getting pretty healthy download speed. and we'll wait for it to click over to upload. Yeah, I can only assume the problem is somewhere down the line, because I'm getting at the moment I'm getting over 20 meg upload speed, so I can't imagine that the problem is at my end of the chain, I'm afraid. Yeah, probably. Oh, it's okay now, is it? Fair enough. Well, we've battled on through, haven't we? I've seen the numbers have gone up anyway. Anyway, chaps, when in doubt, have more beer. Yeah, I expect what it is, lads, that given the sad passing of His Royal Highness today, that there is probably a lot more internet activity, and somewhere a server is straining a little bit. The ghost of Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, I have noticed that the concurrent views, like the views on as we're sort of chatting here in the past couple of weeks, have gone down a little bit. But I don't care really. I always check the views the next day, and it's always, kind of the number of people watching it on catch up or repeat or whatever you can call it is is about the same. So I enjoy myself when I'm talking to you lads on a Friday anyway. You said Royal Highness and it stopped again. Sit down, everyone. John's back in the room. Why is there no aspirin in the jungle? Because the paracetamol. Okay, paracetamol. Okay, it took me a moment, mate. But fair enough. No chance of me wrapping up the Friday night chat, mate. It's I'll be honest with you, sitting here and reading the chat and chatting to you lads, it is one of the highlights of my week. I look forward to it. As I'm toddling up the stairs every Friday about 10 to 5 with me little cool bag full of beers and me pint glass and me vape and me, everything. I always just say to the missus, I said, I'm just off to work, darling. And she says, don't push it, Robson. Table leg on the internet wire again. Yeah, Phil, okay, Chip, I hear you. You've said Phil Manzanera quite a few times during the in the stream tonight. I will do a video on Phil Manzanera at some point, mate. Point taken. Yeah, numbers going down. It might be down to the better weather, because, do you know, lads, we've been at this over a year now. I started this live stream during the first, lockdown and everything, when they first shut the pubs, and first started the Patreon then and everything. And, we've been at it a year. Hasn't it gone fast? After a hard week at work, I look forward to a few beers and a chat on Friday. Keep up the great work, John. Well, thank you very much, Craig. Thank you, mate. I must admit, it's, Fridays, I don't do many lessons on a Friday. I do the odd couple every now and again, but Fridays is my admin day. When it's like, if anybody's out there ever being like a sole trader, small business, there's paperwork to keep up with, and keeping up to date with your accounts and stuff, and that's what I do on a Friday. And it gets to about 3 o'clock, and I start getting a little bit excited, looking forward to this. Just listened to Maybe I'm Amazed recently. Great song. Paul played all the instruments apparently too. Yeah, I mean, say what you like about Paul McCartney, and a lot of people do, but he is just, you know, he's a virtuoso. You know, he can, you can sit him behind a drum kit and he can play. Give him a bass, obviously he can play. A guitar, he can play. Sitting behind a piano, he can play. His singing voice is just one of the best, I think, voices in popular music. Any Jimmy Page stuff, John? Where are we? Too much beer. There's no such thing as too much beer. Yes, as I say, I think the situation with His Royal Highness has probably put a bit of a strain on the back of the internet. Wallop, that was the end of that. Oh, have you gone, mate? Yeah, right. That was the end of that. Oh, have you gone, mate? Yeah, right, chaps. I can see that we're having problems with buffering, so how about we just... Oh, thank you, Dan. You are an absolute star. Thank you, lads. Oh, I'm back, am I? Yes, it's just this this ridiculous internet thing. Oh, where's all my beer gone? I'm looking around for another beer, and there isn't one. I thought I brought an extra one up this evening. I can't have done. Dear me, that's shockingly bad. Thank you, Chip. Thank you, mate. Anyway, chaps, we're obviously having buffering issues this evening, and I'm out of beer. I thought I brought another one up with me. I can't believe I didn't. But let's wrap things up there for this evening, chaps. Very, very generous. Thank you for your donations to Zoe's Place. I'll make sure they go exactly where they're intended to go.